Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Jill here, and we are getting ready for our next episode of my virtual TV show. I have a very special guest today who's actually, I've worked with her in the past, and she's actually from Vermont, where I grew up. So I want to introduce Dr. Laleh. Can you take a minute to just introduce yourself and what you do?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Jill. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. As Jill said, I'm Dr. Laleh, also known as the Food Doctor. And as that might explain what I do is I work on primarily working with people, healing their body or getting to their optimal health using nutritional and nutritional healing. My background, I was a research scientist. I worked on cancer research for many years, but I switched into prevention because I felt like it was more important to prevent cancer and other diseases rather than wait till they happen and then try to fix it. So I started this as a part-time back in 2010 when I was still working as a clinical research scientist. Then I completely jumped into it full-time, which is the best decision I've ever made. It was scary. Back in 2018, and I own a full wellness center with gym and all types of different therapy and personal training and massage therapy, and I do primarily nutritional healing. So that's pretty much the short and long of it.
Awesome. Love that. And your gym is in Vermont. Is it in White River?
It's in White River Junction, yes.
Okay. Okay. And do you have other people that do like the personal training, the massage, and some of the other stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So my business partner is the primary personal trainer. I have very few. I have one person that insists on working with me that I train her twice a week. I love her to death, but my most passion is into solving people's problems, solving those puzzles with respect to health. And we have another trainer. We have a very amazing massage therapist. Yeah, we have a good support team. We have part-time admins and people who help run the show on a daily basis. Yep.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about your nutrition program and how someone, when you first take them on, I think you do some, well, you don't do the blood testing, but you have them bring you blood work and things like that. So can you walk us through kind of what that looks like with you?
Absolutely. So the way I feel that I am unique from everyone else out there is that I really treat every person as unique as they are. And as you mentioned, I use a lot of blood work, lab works, and things that people already have, although they're not existing or some of them are very rare, I can order them as well. But I don't require them. I work with what people kind of already have. And a baseline detailed health questionnaire to kind of learn everything that's unique about that individual. And I designed the whole program depending on their health concerns, goals, and biology, and family history, and background, lifestyle, likes and dislikes, habits. So what I guarantee is there is no other plan like it out there for each person. So I make everything from scratch, and I make everything really completely centered around that person. So every person is treated as unique as they all should be. And it's very hands-on. So nothing is made out there in a formula. It's all in here, which is good and bad because it all depends on me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I have several different categories, if that helps. I started as a cancer researcher, so that was my biggest 3 buckets. Cancer prevention, cancer cure, and cancer control, depending on where people are. And then my calling became other things, unsolved mysteries, all health conditions that people can't get answers to or are frustrated with the traditional medicine. And those I call nutritional healing programs, everything but cancer. Mm-hmm. And then I train and coach athletes to eat well and healthy and not destroy their health and overtrain and, burn out and all of that while they're doing any kind of athletic training, whether they're be competitive or just be athletic. People, you don't have to be a competitive athlete, but And then I have a other category that is ideal weight for people who just need to reach their ideal healthy weight, whether it be they have to lose weight or gain weight. Believe it or not, I have both of them. So those are pretty much the programs.
Awesome. What are some of your favorite maybe case studies or favorite patients that come to mind when you're talking about these programs?
Oh, yeah, tough question. I have many. I love all my clients. But so I will tell you the story about Gail. So Gail was basically given 3 months to live back in late November of 2016. And she was told that her cancer was inoperable. There was no chance to do anything. And she basically had only one option. And that wasn't really an option. It was to help others who will come after her by participating in a phase 1 clinical trial. And so she decided to sort of stop everything and go the alternative routes. She was introduced to me. And so 6 months after working together, primarily on cancer nutrition, Gail's lab results and markers all came negative. There was no cancer, to a point that her oncologist said, and I quote, "Unfortunately, there is no cancer in your body, so you don't qualify for this phase 1 clinical trial." End quote. Yes, I apologize on her behalf to Gail for that. But exactly 6 years after that, Gail has been writing in a fundraiser event. You probably noticed the Proudy for Cancer Research here ever since. 50 to 100 miles riding her bike every year. And she just actually 2 days ago celebrated her 61st birthday, exactly 7 years after that death sentence. So that's my favorite story. And I'm still in touch with her very much. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite stories. The other story I have is Sarah, who was basically told that the only way that she could get healthy and basically eliminate her risk factors was to have a bariatric surgery because she was obese. And she was at the time about 37. She was a nurse. And she said, "No way." And we started working together. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs together with different things, but she has lost since then a good 40 something pounds. And this last year, she has actually changed her biometrics to a point that her cholesterol profile went from at risk to normal. So she actually switched from a nutritional healing program to now ideal weight, because she still has a little bit of weight to lose, but she also is running a half marathon in early February. And this is not her first one, but according to herself, is the first one that she is doing it without pain from inflammation. So two stories that I off the top of my head.
Yeah, those are good ones. Well, and you just use the word inflammation, which I think a lot of people don't realize how much inflammation our diets cause these days. So, and I'm guessing everyone's different, right? Like what might give me inflammation might not give you inflammation. So when you're doing like these individual plans, how do you kind of take that into account? Or is it trial and error a little bit at first?
So a little bit of both. It's not all trial and error, but what a person's genetic background and family history will tell me, along with certain blood types in some cases. For example, if there is an indication that there is inflammation, very obviously, when I get some basic information, I look at some markers for inflammation. A typical one is a high sensitivity CRP or high sensitivity C-reactive protein. And that is a typical inflammation marker. And that number will tell me a lot, along with other things, to really figure that out. And sometimes, a lot of times, when you look at family history, there are certain things that in the traditional medicine, most modern medicine doesn't look at those things as a whole pieces of the puzzle. Right. But when you look at a family history of somebody 2 generations back, which I oftentimes do, if there's something in the grandparents, for example, that will indicate a predisposition genetically or immunologically to something, those are kind of the information that I find very valuable. And it's oftentimes overlooked in a person's, medical records, because the focus is what's your pain right now and how can we mask it? Not, well, where did this come from? And what's the root cause of it? And what predisposes you to this? So maybe we can go back and really try to stop the cause. And or I feel that genetic information or genetics, we can use it to our benefit. It's not, something that you have no control over. I have a background in genetics too, which people oftentimes ask me, it's just genetics. No, it's really not. It's 5% genetics. I wish it was more sometimes, but no, it isn't. But in a good way, you have control over actually programming your genes, if you will, with your lifestyle changes. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I use. But the personalizing of a program also comes into play by a person's habits too, because it's not all about the background and what they've been exposed to, but really what is going on right now. Because a person can be very under a high inflammatory stress situations right now. And that's a moving target sometimes for some people. So that is where one-on-one, hands-on approach is very important. And that's where I say the trial and error. It's not really trial and error, it's really trying to figure out right now what is affecting those predispositions and maybe magnifying the effect of what someone may have in the genes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now, for the past couple of years, there's just been so much conflicting information about diets, right? Like very strong, quote unquote, scientific information about like the vegan diet versus the keto diet. And then you have everything in between. And both sides of those fad diets are very convincing in their arguments. So what do you say about like those very fad diets, both ends of the spectrum? Like, is there an easier, quote unquote, easier, more simplified way for people to look at their diets?
That's a great question, because I get this a lot. People come to me. It's funny because I saw somebody yesterday with heart disease that gave me this. Can you see this? Yeah, it's called stop inflammation now. And it basically puts people on a completely no protein for 1 month.
Wow.
And I just borrowed it just to see what this person has followed in the past. And there's so much out there, and you are absolutely right. My basic philosophy is, if you look at human evolutionary diet, that's basically what we're designed to eat. Think about cats and dogs, just as they're domestic animals. And I have known people who have tried to make their cats vegetarian. You will know this. It doesn't work, right? We're like dogs. So it's you can't say that we can change our evolutionary diet so drastically and adapt to it in such a short period of time. We can't. We're not like bacteria, right? So we're a very complicated species. And if you look at our human evolutionary diet, that basically tells you the simple formula of what we should be eating. So animal-based protein that is not messed around with, right? And primarily your carbohydrates are plant-based, all complex, simple. And your fat, mostly from animal-based fat, and some nuts and seeds. Pretty simple, actually. You don't have to read labels. You don't have to do macros. You don't have to calculate calories. Honestly, you don't. And one of the things that sets me apart from everyone else, and I get this all the time, well, you don't do my macros? I'm like, do you think cavemen sat there in their cave and calculated? I mean, it's not realistic. Who can sustain that day to day? And do you want to worry about your macros and numbers and calories all the time? It's insane. So, but if you eat the right things for you, that for our species, if you will, that was meant to be our natural diet, you really don't have to worry about those things as much, and reading labels. And if you have to read labels, that's already a bad sign. And think about all the vegan diets, for example. How do they supplement for their protein? There's there is bottles and bottles and jars and powders, and how is that natural? And my
Right.
next question is, the argument is for the environment. How is that good for the environment? Right? When I get a vegan who has 12 bottles of things that they have to supplement and all of them are in plastic, I'm like, are you really helping the environment plus the shipping?
Right.
Or not? Or eating locally, your grass-fed beef that comes from my neighbor here in Thetford, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think the vegan diet, because I had been vegetarian for a while, I think when I worked with you, you actually helped me get back to like the grass-fed plant, everything. And there's so many like processed meats. And, one day I was just like, what is in this? You're just eating a hot dog or a hamburger and it's made out of like
burger, yeah.
so much stuff you can't pronounce. And I'm just like, this can't be right either,
No, you don't want, honestly, I always say, do you want somebody like me who worked in the lab sit there and make your food?
Right.
Really? Do you want that? Or do you want Mother Nature to take care of it?
Yeah.
What we were supposed to eat. And just think about animals and wild. Like, does a deer have to be told what to eat on a day-to-day, or I don't know, an eagle or birds? Think about how nobody has to tell them they eat what they're supposed to. If you put a steak in front of a cow, won't touch it. Right?
Yeah.
Cow's supposed to be vegetarian, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Shoot, I was gonna ask you one other question. Oh, obviously people's money is not going as far at the grocery store these days. So do you have any recommendations on how people can have a healthier diet on a budget?
Absolutely. Actually, when you do the math, Jill, you understand that, if we cut out all the boxed and processed and all of those things, it isn't really that expensive to eat healthy. And if you really think about going for nutrient dense foods, right? So vegetables and fruits, all the plants that are going to be your carbohydrates, gives you a lot of nutrients. They are very dense and they're voluminous. So basically that's your first thing that you want to focus on, fresh produce. And that honestly isn't the most expensive part of the expenses of a household. When you think about a package of something that is $10 or I don't know how much is a cereal box, like consider that. A box of cereal, what is it, $6 or something? I don't buy it, so I don't know. But it's at least that much, right? But if you think about like eggs, so which one is actually cheap?
Yeah.
Right? You can get a dozen eggs for something organic, grass-fed. Right. And that dozen egg lasts you a long time for breakfast, and it gives you your protein while the processed one. So that's one idea. As far as the protein goes, and again, there is a math to it. When you think about what number one is the cost of the damage you do to your health, as far as heart disease and cancer, just think about that. We're not invincible. You have to think about, what if this happens? When this happens, your cost of treatment and taking care of that illness and medication, God forbid, is a lot higher. And number two is always, there is this thing called oversize me. And you have to think about portions. Nobody needs a 16-ounce steak. Nobody does, right? We overdo it in this country.
Yeah.
So when I give you a portion of grass-fed steak, that's 3 to 4 ounces, is satisfying.
Right.
And you don't need to have a cow on your plate. Let me tell you that. You don't need to have a giant chicken breast. Those are the things we have to think about. And where to buy as much as close as possible to where you are, actually supporting your local farmers and working out deals with them. Honestly, when you add all the numbers, it isn't that bad. And when you stay away from all of the processed things in the grocery store and all you have is produce and healthy proteins, really, it isn't that bad. I have something that I will tell everybody, and that is the misfit market. And I want everyone to check it out. Depending on where you are in the country, you may have, good luck or bad luck, but basically the idea is to not waste food. And it started with taking the wasted food in the grocery stores that they don't sell anymore, like the ugly fruit, ugly vegetables, things like what your garden looks like, and basically deliver it to people. And it's a great cause. And their whole philosophy is very, very admirable. They have minimal waste with respect to plastic and environmental damage. And they have a flat rate of shipping. And it's not very expensive. It's like $6.99 for your box, no matter how heavy it is.
Wow.
And all organic produce is almost 40 to 50% off. I was very skeptical when I started using it. And I'm like, how ugly is this going to be? And every time I was like, there's nothing wrong with this produce. I mean, maybe an arm of a celery or fennel is broken when it comes. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
The peppers are perfectly shaped and all the same size. You know, they're kind of like your garden. And that's something I tell everybody, because I think everyone should do it, because one, it eliminates wasted food in the world. And you can get everything organic for 40, 50% off. In fact, I just got my box like an hour ago. And there is a lot of grass-fed, free-range, good protein, including chicken, turkey, beef, all of that.
Oh, perfect.
Wild fish. So yeah, there you have it. There's a lot that you can do to actually not break the bank and eating healthy. But overall, when you eliminate all the packaged food and junk, you really reduce the cost of groceries a lot.
Yeah. And your time at the grocery store. Like I always just shop the perimeter because all the stuff in the middle is very like, that's where they get you.
And you know, when you go out, for example, I'm like, if you go out anywhere you go, regardless, at the minimum for two people, it's going to be at least $45, right?
Oh yeah, easily.
20, right? How much do you think I can make with that $45? So just and making your own food. Oh my gosh. And that's one of the reasons it's funny for me. I don't want to ever go out because I'm like, well, I can make a better dinner for that for like a fraction of the price.
Exactly.
Go out sometimes, but I always am thinking about this number. Hey, my protein at home is better. I can make a better food. Oh, I can make that for like $5 rather than $25, you know?
Yeah.
It's all those things to consider. And, you know, when it comes to processed foods, a lot of us go to like, oh, let's order a pizza or whatever, takeout, and it adds up. It really adds
up. It does. Yep.
Huh.
Yep, for sure. All right. We only have a couple minutes left. Is there anything else you want to share about you or your business or your program?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I have a really exciting thing to share, which you may not have been aware of because we just announced the launch. And we do have a 3-day resolution summit. And that is January 26th through 28th. It's 3 days, 90 minutes a day. And there's a lot of valuable lectures there that I will do myself on inflammation, on cancer, Parkinson's, brain disease, and metabolic syndrome, as well as some prizes and some different programs that we are introducing. But one of the most special things of the summit is I have invited guests, my successful clients who are going to be interviewed live during the event.
Awesome.
I think there's nothing more inspiring than actually seeing people who've done it and battled something as serious as, say, Crohn's or metabolic syndrome or Parkinson's. So that's really a cool event that's coming up. And you can see it on our website. It's called the Resolution Summit. And I don't know if you can share that with your listeners later on, or I can send you the link. But
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's a great program. And it's a 3-day summit and really is to help people take control of their life and health and have a resolution about their lifestyle for good. I don't believe in like three-month resolutions, and we all know how they work.
Yeah.
So it's about making a change in your life that is forever. So I encourage everyone to check it out and see us, our ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, all of that. And I will share the link with you. I didn't do that before because we just actually really decided on the date and announced it. So
perfect.
Yeah, and I always offer free calls. So on our website, you can go and book a free call with me. I always would like to get to know you and see if this is the right fit or if I can help you or, you know, if we're right for each other. So check it out and reach out if you like.
Excellent. And what were those dates again for the resolution?
January 26th, 27th, and 28th. It is 90 minutes a day. It is 6 to 7:30 p.m. on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And Saturday is 10 to 11:30. And I will send you the link to that so you can
Okay.
share.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Great.
Perfect. Well, thank you. It was so good chatting today.
Thank you. It's so good to see you, Jill.
Yeah, you too. Take
Congratulations
care.
on the book again.
Oh, thank you. When's your book coming out?
19th. Yeah.
19th of this month? Oh, it's
Yeah,
right around the
it's gonna be
corner.
good.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, you're about to have your hustle on too.
Exactly. Yep. It's fun though. It's all great.
It is. Awesome. All right. Well, take
Good
care.
to see you.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.